You're on.
Hi, I'm Greg Jackson. I love casting. I'll just do a couple of long casts. Like in a fairly long line out, that gives me a lot of energy, and as long as I poke that energy in the right direction, I have no problems at all attaining distance.
Okay, so that's on a perpendicular plane to the ground.
Yeah.
Can we do this with a side cast or a horizontal plane to the ground?
Not at all. Exactly the same thing. Just give me an extra inch there and I'll wait for Cole. This cast is exactly the same, only I can use the pointing of the rod a little bit better to save throwing tailing loops. Very important not to put too much wrist at the end in this cast because you will throw tailing loops.
To bear in mind, if you're watching this video, both of those casts have just pinged the backing and gone over 100 foot with a 6-weight. Got another variation for us?
We've got another variation.
What do you mean by too much wrist?
Well, when you come through on the casting stroke for quite a few casts, towards the end of the cast, because you've got everything tracking well, you put a little bit of wrist in to get a little bit of line speed. And because you're loading into the length of the rod, which is a lot more stable and less flexible than at 90 degrees to the rod, you don't get a lot of rod bending, which throws your loop open wide or gives you a tailing loop. Okay, so what we do is less of that and focus more on pointing the rod, which guarantees that you get a long casting stroke, which accelerates the line very efficiently, and an efficient line flying through the air is what is really fantastic. More so than a boxer's punch at the, in a fight. So it's back and forward, and back and forward, and back and forward. Quite an open loop there, but not my sort of my usual rod, but I'm getting used to it. So I'll just show you a very easy cast, and it works on the idea of efficiency. Now this might not look very efficient, but it's got the idea that I actually tell the line where to go. Even though I've got very open loops, I'm telling the line where to go. So the open loops, I'm telling the line to go out there. Very open loop, whole fly line, no problem. And the idea is, this travel here is telling the line where to go. This travel here is used mainly for an arc, used mainly for the loop, or the loop size, or in the end, certainly acceleration. So if I use my wrist but get a long casting stroke, I can open the cast up, so I've got nice big open loop. But because I'm pushing the rod mainly up into the air, I'm telling the line to go up in the air. So when I'm telling it to go up in the air, that's pretty well exactly where it goes to. That's very exaggerated. I'll just tidy it up a little bit now, and I'll show you to cast more efficiently.
Yeah, it makes your cast good. The direction of the power, I reckon.
Yeah, it's very important to direct it, which is the part of the 3D that I find quite important. It's nothing to have the line to turn over, but it's way more important to tell the line where to go. And this is it. I want the line to go up, I go up. I want the line to go forward, I go forward.
Yeah.
And that is one of the main things in casting, is to tell the line where to go. Not just to allow the flexing of the blank and the movement of the arm to form a loop or a turnover, but to actually tell it where to go. So now I've got the loop or turnover here. I'm telling it to turn over, and it's going into the ground. Now if I tell it to go a little bit back and turn over, all of a sudden I'm lengthening my casting ability. Now I give it less loop, but tell it where to go. So now I've got efficiency. I want you to go out there. I want you out there. I want you out there. So I'll cast the fly line without hauling, because I'll tell the line where to go. I want you out there, and I want you back there. I want you out there, I want you back there. I want you out there. And I let it go, and not quite the whole fly line, but give me one more shot and I'll get a bit more line out.
What Greg was basically doing there is carrying about 50 or 60 feet without hauling, and without hauling, which he's about to do now, without the haul, he's going to end up shooting a full fly line of 100 feet without a haul, and there's a bit of breeze around.
Okay.
Over to you.
Righto, good.
That's it.
I've worked out what the rod likes now, how to form the loop with this particular rod and line, and I'll shoot without hauling at all. I'll give it one more go to try and get the whole fly line.
That was 90 feet then.
Just a matter of getting used to this rod, this line, what it likes. So I'm working out how to form my loop, and then I'll let it rip. You might have better line. Close, not quite.
It's fucking good to know all this.
I can get 100. I'll just let me really work this out, and I'll get it. Just need to tighten up that loop a bit. You're right, the wind is catching it in the back. You're killing my back. Oops, I stood on. Killing my back loop. Yeah.
Greg just picked up this rod 6 minutes ago, and this rod and reel and line combination he hasn't cast before.
That's got it.
Close. I may have reached the limit with this rod and line. Let's give it one more go. Just tighten up that loop, I'll be really happy. Don't know if I got it. Don't think so, no. Closer, but not
95. Bit of wind, and in this variation that rod is probably underlined one line.
You going to head back? I am. No, I can go back. I'm going back. Going back in a short back
a few different casting styles with different rods. This rod's, pardon me, quite flexible.
Okay, can you hold
So-
a second? I'm going to saw back. I've got it sort of like, you
Rod
get
for
what I'm
me
doing.
likes a late turnover. So I bring it basically all the way forward and then turn the tip over. So for this line and this rod right now, I'll come all the way forward and I'll turn it over. Back, get it all straight, turn it over and let it rip. And that works very efficiently. Some rods are a bit stiffer all the way through or more progressive. You can release them a little bit earlier. This one here, you need quite a long travel to get everything straightened up, slack free, and then put the extra little bit of speed and direction in. And there's your sort of easy long cast. Smoothing up casting and everything usually means more efficiency with the loop. If you don't work with a good loop, you need to do exercises to improve your loop, I think. And I go back to it fairly regularly to making loops, because making loops is really important for distance casting, really important for all casting actually. And the point is, I'll just take a little bit of that backing in, it's a bit,
It does that.
tends to want to catch, yeah, typical of that.
Needs a good stretch, sorry.
That's alright, no worries. Straighten her out on the cast and maybe that'll do it. So, very important to work with efficiency, not necessarily too much muscle or power. So, when you're working with efficiency, you make the cast and everything just goes. You don't have to try too hard. You're relying on efficiency, not muscle or horsepower. So to get as much efficiency as you can is really important, and that's about loop. Work on the loop until you get those loops how you like them, or certainly talk to a CCI or a master casting instructor or someone who understands loops and works with loops, just to get those loops really tight, and that's what makes casting very easy. So tighten it up and let it lie. Easy.
That was going.
Very good. You had enough of my blurb?
Alright, what do we do? I might